My name is Jessica Davis. I'm 24 years old. And last Thanksgiving, my sister Amanda stood up in front of everyone, raised her glass, and said they had voted me out of the family. Yes, after everything I gave up, they voted me out. But what they didn't know was that I had brought a folder with me that day, a folder that would change everything. Because sometimes betrayal comes full circle, and when it doesn't knock, it crashes in. Let me take you back to where it all began. I grew up just outside Boston in a quiet, middle class neighborhood. Our home wasn't fancy, just a modest colonial with faded blue siding and creaky stairs. But it was home. From the beginning, it was clear who the favorite was my older sister, Amanda. She was smart, beautiful, outgoing. My mother, Margaret, used to call her the future of this family. My dad, Robert, was different. He owned a small office supply business and believed in hard work. He didn't care for big dreams or public praise. He valued honesty, loyalty, and consistency. That's what bonded us. While mom drove Amanda to ballet recitals and debate competitions, I helped dad with inventory, invoices, and books. He used to say, Jessica, understanding money means understanding freedom. That line stayed with me. Amanda was the golden child, valedictorian, class president, homecoming queen. I was the quiet one, the reliable one, the one who stayed behind and made sure things got done. I didn't mind, not back then, but everything changed the year I graduated high school. Dad started getting sick, headaches, fatigue, dizzy spells. He collapsed during Amanda's scholarship ceremony. 3 days later, we got the news. Stage 3 lymphoma, aggressive, treatable but only with intensive care. 2 months later, Amanda left for college in New York. I helped her pack. She said, You know I can't turn down this scholarship. Mom said they had things under control. They didn't. Mom became overwhelmed within weeks. The business began to fail. So when my Boston University acceptance came, I let it go. I enrolled in community college instead, part-time, local, and I started helping at home. Jessica's always wanted to be the martyr. I overheard mom say to Amanda on the phone, I wasn't trying to be a martyr. I was doing what had to be done. Dad's condition got worse. Chemo, doctor appointments, fevers, sleepless nights. I took over caregiving. 5 a.m. wake-ups, medicine, meals, insurance calls. And somewhere in there, I also worked part-time at a local accounting firm. Amanda, she posted selfies in New York clubs. She called on Sundays, said she wished she could help, then talked for 20 minutes about her boyfriend and the new apartment her internship helped her afford. Except, it wasn't just her internship. One day, I found a bank statement, a $5,000 transfer to Amanda. Dad said she needed help with rent. Meanwhile, I was struggling to cover groceries. Over time, I uncovered the truth. My parents had sent Amanda over $50,000 across 3 years for rent, clothes, networking events. They said she needs it for her image. What about my image? What about my life? But I didn't argue. I focused on keeping Dad alive, keeping the house running, keeping the lights on. I was 26, no degree, no savings, just bills, medical appointments, and exhaustion. And then, one April morning, everything changed. I walked into the living room. Dad was reading the paper, not just sitting up, but alert, smiling. He said the Sox lost again, with that old spark in his voice, and I knew he was coming back. The cancer was retreating. Suddenly, Amanda called more often. She visited. She cried at dinner about how hard it had been for her. Mom said Amanda's so sensitive. Meanwhile, I was rebuilding the family business, running spreadsheets, reducing costs, fixing years of mismanagement. I had learned more from managing crisis than any MBA ever could. Dad didn't say thank you, but he asked for my help more often. He needed me. And then came Thanksgiving. Amanda showed up with Brian, her rich fiancé from Connecticut. Their wedding was going to be huge. Destination venue, custom dress, press coverage. Dinner was tense. Amanda stood up, clinking her glass. I just want to say, she smiled sweetly. We've talked as a family, and we think it's time. Jessica took a step back. The room went silent. What? I asked. We feel your energy has been difficult. You're angry all the time, and it's not healthy for the family anymore. We voted, and we'd like to ask you to take some time away. Mom nodded. Dad stayed silent. I reached into my bag and pulled out the folder. Inside, bank records, transfers, emails, a full accounting of every dollar sent to Amanda, every bill I had paid, every hour I had worked. Proof that I had kept this family afloat. Amanda froze. Dad's face went pale. But I wasn't done. I've spoken with a lawyer, I said, and with the IRS. You've misreported income. There are consequences. The room shattered into chaos. But I just stood there, calm, prepared, free, because sometimes betrayal comes full circle. And when it does, it answers to me. The room was silent except for the sound of my own breathing. I could feel every pair of eyes on me. Amanda's wide with shock, Mom's narrowed with anger, and Dad's unreadable. The folder lay on the table like a weapon. Because it was. I didn't want it to come to this, I said, my voice steady, though my hands trembled. But I won't let you rewrite history. Not after everything I gave up for this family. Amanda scoffed, trying to regain her composure. You think you're some kind of saint. You stayed because you had no ambition, Jessica. Don't act like you sacrificed anything. No ambition, I said softly. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to cry. You're right. I don't have your kind of ambition, Amanda. I didn't chase internships or party in Manhattan. I chased chemo schedules. I chased unpaid bills. I chased keeping this family from falling apart while you lived your best life. Mom finally spoke. That's enough, Jessica. You're embarrassing yourself. I turned to her. No, Mom. I've been embarrassed for years. Every time I swallowed my feelings. Every time I put my future on hold because you couldn't be bothered to step up. You called me a martyr. But the truth is, you needed me to be one. Dad shifted in his seat, his face pale. Jessica, let's not do this here. No, Dad. You always said understanding money means understanding freedom. I understand now. You gave Amanda freedom with my sacrifices. Amanda stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the hardwood. This is ridiculous. I didn't ask for any of this. No, I said. You didn't have to. You were handed it on a silver platter. That night I packed a small bag and left the house. It wasn't dramatic. No slamming doors, no shouting, just quiet resolve. I drove to my tiny apartment, the one I'd been renting since Dad's recovery, though no one in my family ever visited. I sat on the floor with my knees pulled to my chest. For the first time in years, I was alone. And it wasn't terrifying. It was peaceful. The next morning, I woke up early out of habit. But there was no pill schedule, no insurance calls, no laundry piles. For the first time in a decade, my time was mine. I made coffee and opened my laptop. For months, I had been exploring online degree programs at night when Dad didn't need me. But now I wasn't just browsing. I applied, accounting and finance. I also emailed Michael Foster, Dad's old friend and my quiet mentor. He had once said temporary has a way of becoming permanent. He replied within an hour, come see me at the office. I have a proposition for you. When I walked into Foster & Co. accounting later that week, Michael greeted me with a warm smile. Jessica, you look different. I feel different. He motioned for me to sit. I've watched you hold that family together. You've got the grit and brains most accountants dream of. I want to offer you a full-time position, junior partner track, and I'll pay for your remaining degree credits if you take evening classes. I blinked. A partner track. Me? He nodded. You've earned it, Jessica. Don't waste another minute being someone's backup plan. That night, I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. For years, I saw a tired caregiver, a girl in the background of her own life. But now, I saw something else. I saw a woman ready to reclaim her time, her energy, her worth. Weeks passed. Amanda's wedding invitations arrived, white and gold with elegant calligraphy. One envelope was addressed to me, but inside was no invitation. Just a note. We hope you understand why we can't include you at this time. For Amanda's sake, please respect our wishes. Respect their wishes? I almost laughed. At work, I was thriving. Within 6 months, I had brought in 2 major clients and streamlined their books. Michael was impressed. You've got a gift for this, Jessica, he said, and you're about to make more than Amanda ever dreamed. The irony wasn't lost on me. Amanda, with all her image building, was still an employee. I was becoming an owner. But then, a familiar name flashed on my phone one Friday night. Dad. I stared at the screen. I hadn't spoken to him in months. When I answered, his voice was weak. Jessica, we need to talk. The phone felt heavy in my hand. Jessica, please, Dad said again. His voice was softer than I remembered. Older. I hesitated. For months, I had imagined this moment, what I'd say, how I'd finally unload years of resentment. But all I managed was, is everything okay? There was a pause. No, it's not. Can you come home? I need your help. Home. The word hit me like a cold wave. That house wasn't home anymore. Not since Thanksgiving. I don't think that's a good idea, I said quietly. Jessica, his voice cracked. Please. The business, it's in trouble, and I don't know what to do. I closed my eyes. Of course, it was always about the business. 2 days later, I found myself driving the familiar route back to my childhood neighborhood. The house looked the same. Faded blue siding, cracked walkway, overgrown shrubs, but it felt different. Smaller, colder. Dad opened the door before I even knocked. He looked thinner, paler, but his eyes, those sharp, calculating eyes, were the same. Jessica, he said softly. I didn't hug him. I didn't smile. I just stepped inside. The living room felt frozen in time. Same old recliner. Same family photos. Same faint smell of Mom's perfume. But there were boxes stacked by the walls. Papers scattered on the coffee table. Chaos. Thank you for coming, Dad said. I didn't come for you, I replied. I came for answers. He nodded, sinking into his chair. I deserve that. For the next hour, he explained. The business had started failing again. Suppliers weren't being paid. Customers were leaving. And the final blow? A massive loan he had taken out during his illness, one he hadn't told anyone about, was now in default. I thought I could fix it after I got better, he admitted, but I couldn't. And your mother, she doesn't understand numbers. I stared at him, anger simmering. You mean the way she didn't understand when I ran this business while you were sick? The way none of you understood. He looked away. I was wrong about a lot of things. Then he dropped the real bombshell.
Amanda, she borrowed from the company. I froze. What do you mean? She came to us a year ago. She said Brian's family expected a certain lifestyle. She needed help covering her share of the wedding. So we let her withdraw from the business account. How much? Dad swallowed hard. 70,000. I blinked. $70,000? For a wedding? He nodded. She promised to pay it back. I laughed bitterly. Let me guess. She hasn't. No. I stood up, pacing. You let her drain the company, while I was the one keeping it alive. And now you want me to fix it? Dad looked up at me, his eyes pleading. You're the only one who can. The audacity. The absolute audacity. But a part of me still cared. Not for him. Not for Amanda. For the employees. The people whose jobs were at stake. I sighed. I'll look at the books. But this isn't for you. Or Mom. Or Amanda. This is for the people who've worked here for decades. For the next 2 weeks, I buried myself in the company's finances. It was worse than I thought. Mismanaged funds, outdated systems, and Amanda's withdrawals had left a gaping hole. But I also saw something else. Opportunities. The skills I had built, negotiating, budgeting, digital marketing, were exactly what this business needed. I started implementing changes immediately. New software, streamlined processes, online promotions. Within a month, the company was stabilizing. One afternoon, as I was leaving the office, Amanda showed up. She looked flawless as ever. Designer coat, perfect hair, smug smile. Well, she said. If it isn't St. Jessica, saving the day again. I didn't reply. She stepped closer. You know Dad and Mom still love me more. No matter what you do, you'll always be second best. I tilted my head, smiling slightly. That's funny. Because second best just saved the company. You nearly bankrupted. Her smile faltered. You're such a martyr. Always have been. I leaned in. No, Amanda. I'm not a martyr anymore. I'm the one holding all the power now. And soon everyone will know it. That night, I got a text from Michael Foster. Big news. Call me. When I did, his voice was warm. Jessica, I've spoken to my partners. We want you to lead a merger between Foster & Co. and Davis Supplies. If you agree, you'll be CEO. I froze. CEO. Yes, you've proven yourself. It's time everyone else sees it too. For the first time in years, I felt it. Hope, freedom, power. Amanda thought she'd won, but she had no idea. I was just getting started. The wedding was all over social media. Amanda and Brian, the golden couple. A luxurious destination wedding at a 5-star resort in Cape Cod. I saw photos of crystal chandeliers, flower arches, and rows of guests dressed in designer clothes. Amanda in her $20,000 gown. Brian with his smug grin. Everyone looked perfect, polished, untouchable, but they didn't know I was coming. For weeks I debated it. Part of me thought, why bother? They had voted me out of the family. They had made it clear I wasn't wanted. But another part of me, the part they underestimated for years, said, go, show them who you've become. So I did. I arrived at the resort alone. No invitation, no +1, just me, and a confidence they'd never seen before. Gone was the tired, selfless Jessica they remembered. In her place stood a woman in a tailored navy dress, hair in soft waves, and a folder in her leather bag. Because I wasn't there to watch Amanda's fairy tale. I was there to end it. The ceremony was already underway when I walked in. Gasps rippled through the crowd as I made my way down the aisle. Not toward the altar, but toward the front row where Mom and Dad sat. Mom's face went white. Dad stood up slightly, his hand gripping the pew. Amanda paused mid-vow, her voice faltering. Jessica. Her eyes narrowed. What are you doing here? She hissed. I smiled sweetly. Oh, I just came to congratulate you. But since we're all family here, I thought we should clear the air first. Whispers spread like wildfire. The photographer froze, camera halfway to his face. I took out the folder from my bag. Inside this folder, I said, raising my voice so everyone could hear, are the financial records of Davis Supplies, the business Amanda and my parents let crumble while funding her glamorous life. A murmur went through the crowd. And for those wondering, yes, that includes the $70,000 taken from the company account to pay for this wedding. Gasps. Someone dropped their champagne glass. Amanda's face turned red. Jessica, stop. You're ruining everything. I stepped closer to her. No, Amanda, I'm setting things right. For years I carried this family while you played dress-up in New York. You took, and now the world knows. Brian stepped forward, his face pale. Is this true? He asked Amanda. Did you use company money for our wedding? She opened her mouth but no words came out. The crowd stared. Friends, family, business associates. The perfect image Amanda had built was cracking. I turned to Mom and Dad. You taught me family means sacrifice. But I was the only one sacrificing. From now on I'm done playing the backup plan. Dad tried to speak. Jessica, I held up a hand. Save it. I'm the new CEO of Davis Supplies. As of yesterday, Foster & Co. finalized a merger. I own 60% of the company. The room went silent. Amanda's jaw dropped. You? What? I'm the boss now, I said simply. And as my first act, Amanda, you're banned from any future financial involvement. Effective immediately. The wedding planner appeared, looking panicked. Should we continue the ceremony? Brian shook his head slowly. I need to think. He turned and walked out, leaving Amanda standing alone at the altar. I straightened my dress and looked at Amanda one last time. You spent years stepping on me to reach the top, but you forgot one thing. What? She spat. I learned how to climb too, and with that I walked out head high, heels clicking against the marble floor. Outside, the cool sea breeze hit my face. For the first time in years I felt free, powerful. I wasn't Jessica the caregiver anymore. I wasn't Jessica the backup plan. I was Jessica Davis, the woman who rebuilt her life and refused to let anyone take it away again. I didn't look back as I left Amanda's wedding. Behind me voices rose, confusion, anger, whispers of scandal. But outside, it was quiet, just the sound of waves crashing against the shore and my own steady heartbeat. For years I had been the girl in the background, the one carrying bedpans, balancing checkbooks, and cleaning up everyone else's messes. Not anymore. The next morning, headlines started appearing. Socialite's wedding shaken by family scandal. Jessica Davis, the sister who saved and owned the family business. Photos of me walking out of the ceremony in my navy dress went viral. People called me the quiet storm. Amanda, she went radio silent. Her Instagram, once full of luxury posts, was suddenly private. Brian's family pulled out of the wedding funding and rumors swirled about a cancelled honeymoon. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The truth was enough. Back at Davis Supplies, I settled into my new role as CEO. The office felt different with me at the helm. Employees who once saw me as the boss's daughter now looked at me with respect. I implemented modern systems, launched a sleek website, and secured contracts with 2 national chains. Within 6 months, profits were higher than they'd been in over a decade. One afternoon, while reviewing quarterly reports, my assistant knocked. "Your parents are here. Should I send them in?" I hesitated. For months I had ignored their calls and emails, but maybe it was time. "Send them in," I said. Mom and Dad walked in slowly, as if entering unfamiliar territory. Mom looked nervous, her designer purse clutched tightly. Dad looked tired. "Jessica," Mom began, "you look well." I didn't smile. "Let's skip the small talk. Why are you here?" Dad cleared his throat. "We wanted to apologize. For everything." "You'll have to be more specific." Mom's voice cracked. "For taking you for granted. For letting you sacrifice so much while Amanda lived her life. For not appreciating you." It was surreal, hearing the words I had needed for years. But they didn't land the way I thought they would, because I didn't need them anymore. "I accept your apology," I said calmly. "But let's be clear. I'm not your safety net anymore. This business is mine now. And my life, it's mine too." Dad nodded slowly. "We understand." As they turned to leave, Mom stopped at the door. "Jessica, are we still family?" I met her eyes. "Family isn't just blood, Mom. It's loyalty. It's respect. You'll have to earn your way back into my life." That evening, I sat on my balcony overlooking the city skyline, a glass of wine in hand. My phone buzzed with an email notification. "Congratulations, Jessica. You've been selected for Boston's 40 Under 40 list of young leaders." I smiled to myself. This was my life now. Not as a caregiver, not as a backup plan, but as a leader. As a woman who had finally chosen herself. The next week, I spoke at a women's business conference. My topic, turning sacrifice into success. The room was packed. When I finished, the standing ovation felt surreal. Amanda had once been the star, but now, I was the one people looked up to. Later, as I walked off stage, a young woman approached me. "Jessica, your story inspired me. My family's been taking advantage of me too. How did you find the courage to stand up?" I smiled, by realizing my worth doesn't depend on their approval, and neither does yours. As I drove home that night, the radio played softly. The road was quiet. For the first time in years, so was my mind. I had no regrets, no guilt, no anger, just peace. And in that peace I whispered to myself, "I'm not the forgotten one anymore. I'm Jessica Davis." And in that peace I whispered to myself, "I'm not the forgotten one anymore. I'm Jessica Davis." And in that peace I whispered to myself, "I'm not the forgotten one anymore. I'm Jessica Davis. And I'm unstoppable. And I'm